welcome to Craft with Sarah. It's time for another Christmas project that's that little bit extra special. Today we are making this giant off-the-mat snowman sign. Now this is a little bit different to my normal designs because this is not an SVG cut file that you can upload to Cricut Design Space. Instead, I've created this directly within Design Space using Cricut Access imagery. So you do need the Cricut Access subscription to be able to cut this for free, and it does mean that this design can only be made if you have got a Cricut brand of cutting machine, not if you've got any other type of machine. If you'd like to make giant signs and you don't have the Access subscription or you don't have a Cricut, check out my other videos because I've got loads of giant signs on there which are SVG files, but this one, I just fancy doing something a little bit different. And if you'd like to know how to design your own giant signs, keep watching until the end as I'll show you how you can do that with my lovely layering Design Space course. But for now, we're going to get started with this giant snowman sign. And it is, as you can see, really quite big, but you can still cut it on a regular size Cricut because all of the back pieces come in sections that will then stick together. And then we end up with this. Let's see how to make it. To find the link to open the project in Cricut Design Space, check the description of this video. Click on the link and then it will open your internet browser and you'll see a screen which looks a little bit like this. You should see a little white box appear which has a button which says Open Cricut Design Space Application. However, if you can't see this little window, I'll just hide mine by pressing Cancel. Then to get it to appear, look down the bottom of the page and press Open in App, and that should make it appear. Now please note this is a Cricut only project because I did design this one from right within Cricut Design Space, and I'll explain a little bit more about why I did that at the end of this video. And you'll also need the Cricut Access subscription to be able to cut this for free. Click on the Open Cricut Design Space desktop application button. If you're on a mobile, it will be a little bit different. And then it will open up Cricut Design Space for you. It might be a little bit slow because this is quite a large project, but then you'll see a box which looks like this. Now yours will probably say different buttons down here. Mine says customize because this is my project that I designed, but because you're looking at something created by me, I think yours will say something like edit a copy instead of customize. I'm not sure on the exact wording, but I think it's something like that. So what you would do is you would click the button here that says edit a copy or whatever it is that it says. But mine says customize, so I'm going to click on that one. And then that will open the project and it looks like this. So I'll just make this the full size of my screen and get rid of this annoying little blue box. And you might need to zoom out using the zoom buttons on the bottom left of the screen so that you can see the whole thing. I've added a little bit of instruction at the top of the screen, which just says cut the orange and black pieces from adhesive vinyl and the rest from cardstock. And that's because the black pieces on the faces and the little orange noses are so small that it's just a little bit too difficult to cut them from cardstock and glue them on. So I found it was much easier to cut them from vinyl, adhesive vinyl, and then just stick them on. And then they all stay in one place. It's much easier. Now you'll notice there are some lines down the design, and this is where the join lines are going to be stuck. So that's where all the little pieces that make up this giant 20-inch sign intersect. If you scroll down the bottom of the layers panel, you can kind of see what I mean. So this is the white that makes up this little snowdrift here. And you see it's split up into different sections, and then we'll be gluing all of those together to make it that 28 inches wide. You don't actually need to change anything on the page. I just wanted to open it so that you could have a little look and see how it's all made up. The text up here I've set as a guideline, which means it's not actually going to cut, so you can delete it if you want to, or you can leave it there, it doesn't matter. When you're ready to get cutting, press Make It on the top right of the screen, and that will sort everything out into the colours. And here as well, you can see that this is one of the larger bits that goes right at the bottom, and it's split up into different pieces. You'll notice some shape cutouts. This is how we're going to line everything up. So for example, this piece here has a heart and a circle, which you're going to cut out of the side. And then that's going to stick up against this bit. And we'll stick the lines, the gaps, over each other. So the heart and the circle on this one will go on top of the heart and the circle on this one. And that's how you'll know when you've got everything perfectly lined up, because the little heart and circle will match up completely. And there are different shapes for different pieces, just to make it really easy to see how to stick it together. But don't worry, that's what we're going to be covering in the next section of this video. I'll just scroll down a little bit. Actually, first, I'll just show you that you can change the paper size. So you can use either A4 or US letter if you prefer. I tend to use A4 paper as that's more readily available in the UK, and all the pieces should fit onto that just fine. Now I'm going to scroll down and you see the black piece here. This is one of the ones that I would cut from Adhesive Vinyl. And it puts everything really close together by default. So I would recommend just moving them about so you've got a little bit more space between them. It'll just make it easier to cut the bits of vinyl apart to stick each bit on each individual snowman. And then the other bit to do from vinyl is the one which looks like this. It's all your little noses and cheeks. And again, you can move things apart. Now, the reason some of the bits are joined together is that this is all for one particular snowman. So by joining them together in their exact positioning like this, although it does mean you'll use up a little bit more vinyl than if all the bits were stuck, cut right next to each other. But it does mean that because they're in position, we can just stick this all on in one go, and we don't need to worry about placing each teeny tiny piece individually. And then apart from those two bits, everything else will be done with cardstock. So go ahead, get everything cut out, and then we'll see how to make it and stick it all together. And one thing I just thought of as I was saying that, if you are using adhesive vinyl, you do not need to mirror your design. If you decided to use heat transfer vinyl instead, then you would need to mirror just this orange one and this black one. But for regular adhesive vinyl, no mirroring is necessary. This is my very base piece, and I think I'm going to struggle a little bit with actually fitting this in the frame of my camera because it's so big. But the first thing to do is to get your very bottom layer and line all the pieces up. We've got the little gap cutouts that we made, so I can line up along them and then know that that's in position. There. And then I'm going to use a bit of washi tape just to get this stuck to my tape so that they don't move once I've got them in position. Having multiple shapes makes it really easy to know which bits to put where. Now, this isn't quite lining up here. So I think I've just not quite got that straight somewhere along the lines. It's kind of like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Washi tape's good because it doesn't damage the card when you take it off again. And then the two bits over this side, you might not be able to see these very well. There, so that didn't take too much time to get everything lined up. Right, so now that they're all in position, we can start sticking the pieces together and try and decide the best way. It doesn't really matter which way you do it. I think I'll go for the middle. Oops, I just said it didn't rip and then I ripped it because I was pulling it quickly. And that's the bit you'll see as well. That was silly. Never mind. Okay, now because I know everything else is in position, I'm happy with sticking this bit on as is. So I'm going to get my glue and go down the overlaps. So I know they overlap on these shapes, so it's going to go down at least as far as the shapes. And I need to take that one off. I'm just going to move that one for now. And I need to move that bit of washi tape. It's probably not a smart idea to start with the middle bit, but I was kind of figuring I can stick 3 sides at once doing it this way. So we'll see how it goes. And I can line all of that up. Beautiful. Okay. Now I'll do this bit over here on the left. Got 3 shapes to line up here. Circle, heart, and star. Oops, that was silly. I forgot that was already glued to the middle bit. Alright. I'm going to have to try and fit that back in. Don't do that. Don't pull parts apart that you've already stuck. Oh dear. It's this bit I need to stick. And now I'm going to leave this for a while to completely dry, and then I'll turn it over and add some sticky tape along the join lines at the back to make sure that it's really secure. Here's the back of my green, and I've just gone down all those lines with some sticky tape. Make sure you don't cover up the holes to thread the twine through, but all the other holes you can cover up if you want to. At this point, you would thread your twine through and secure it. I'm actually not going to use twine for this design because it's got a nice flat bottom to stand it up on. But you can just thread it through, tie it in a knot, and add some tape along there to hold the back of the twine in place. Okay, and here's the front. I'm so annoyed that I ripped that card. Okay, the next layer we've got is the grey. And this one I will stick on with foam squares to give it a bit of dimension, but use what's already there to line it up. So we can go along and do the gluing. Just make sure you don't glue it to the green. We only want to be gluing the grey bits together. Now they're all done. Once again, I'm going to let this completely dry. Then I'll turn it upside down and add sticky tape down the join lines. Here's the back of my piece of card. I've put my sticky tape down it, and I've also added on all my foam squares. You need to add quite a lot when doing giant signs, especially in the middle as well, otherwise it'll sort of bend downwards. And the reason we're adding a lot is this is a lot of card. It's heavy. We need to make sure it's going to stick. I've added a few smaller foam squares to some of these pieces, and do try and make sure you've got a bit in any little sticky out bits you've got on your design, because it will just hold it all in place better. So now I can stick this on. And it's just like a regular layered design. We're going to line it up. This one's nice because it's got that bottom. Gently drop it down. Check you're happy with the positioning all the way around. And if not, because you've only just gently let it down, you should be able to pick it up again. But that's looking good to me. So I'm going to push down and get all those foam squares really well stuck. There we go. Okay, next big layer is my snow. And when you're doing these, you might choose to glue some of these rather than use your foam, which is what I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to glue this straight on to the grey. Nice and quick and easy. Some of these pieces are quite small. I probably could have welded these two together before cutting them out, and it would have cut from one bit of card. So that's perhaps something I should have paid a little bit more attention to before I cut everything, but it's not too much of a problem. What's that one? I'm missing a bit. No, there he is. Again, this bit's really small, so I probably could have welded this to this bit too. There we go, there's all my pieces stuck on that one. So now I can start adding my actual sign and the little snowman. Most of the snowman I've already stuck together, and I've also stuck together the bottom there just to make this a little bit quicker. Here's my bottom piece. I glued the orange to the yellow. Completely didn't realise when I was designing this that all of these lines will be separate because of how it splits. That took a little while. I've added my text on, and I made an offset in Design Space, and I foamed the offset layer, the pink layer, and glued the white on. And I got one of my little snowmen. I did the orange and the black in vinyl just so it's a little bit easier. And I'm going to, I think, use my foam squares to give this a bit more dimension. That's all my foam squares. And one thing I will say is when I glued the yellow bottom layer together, I did line them up against the existing sign just to make sure everything was in the correct position. Nope, that's too far the other side. Oh yeah, this still isn't quite big enough. I think I must have moved it after I stuck it. It's a little bit too short, but I don't think it'll notice. There we go. All right, we're getting there. Now the snowmen I've already stuck together are here. And if I turn it over, you can see, because these snowmen weren't designed to be done from cardstock really, or at least not layered up with foam squares like we do. It's got some overlapping bits. The bottom is just the snowman. It doesn't have any of the pieces on. So as I was sticking them together, I did actually keep them in place just to make sure I was putting everything in the right place. Otherwise it wouldn't have lined up with what we've got here. The next one I haven't stuck together yet. That's my little test one, but I have done the one on the end. I seem to be missing a nose for the poor little snowman that's going to go here. I'm going to have to recut it, I think. Otherwise, how will he smell? Terrible. My dad always used to make that joke whenever there was a snowman. Then I've got the tops of his mittens here, which is, it was the same orange as the face, so it's done with vinyl. I've already put my transfer tape on top the adhesive vinyl, but I'm actually not going to use that because these are quite easy just to pick up and stick. I will use it for that faith bit. I'm really confused because I've got two snowmen left. I've got that one and the one in that bottom corner. And I can only see one nose. So I don't know where that other one's gone. So yeah, it's a bit annoying. There's two buttons. One. Oh, that was a big glob of glue. Come on, pick up. There's those. And now I've got my orange and black adhesive vinyl. And I don't have a scraper tool handy. I'm going to use the edge of my, whatchamacallit, tape runner just to burnish this on. So I've already put my transfer tape over the top. And I've got transfer tape on that one too, but I don't need that. Okay, there's that one. Line this up. Maybe it's that way. That looks better, doesn't it? Okay. Makeshift scraper tool. There. And this transfer tape is pretty good. It doesn't rip the cardstock. So I can just add his little face in there. Much easier than sticking those bits on one at a time. So it must be this poor snowman that's missing his nose. I'm looking everywhere and I can't see it. I've got his eyes. He looks very sad without a nose. Oh, there it is. A nose. Amazing. Okay, good. That makes me happy. All right, this snowman's the last thing left on my sign. So again, you can see this doesn't quite have all of the shapes on it, but that's okay. Right. Let him there. I've got little bits of foam tape covers everywhere. Hat. Sorry, I'm a bit off camera here. The problem with doing giant signs is it does not leave you an awful lot of desk room. Yeah, then there's a pretty little pattern. Bit of glue. You can see what I'm doing this time. There. Main top. More foam. Oh, I didn't do that very well, did I? That's better. And little mittens. I've got her top. This one's very pink. Very, very pink. I like that one. And some boots. There, plop the lid back on my glue. And now her vinyl face with my fake burnisher again, which actually works pretty well. Okay. there, and her nose, which we did find. I'm just going to stick that on like a sticker because it's very big. There. Okay, so there we have it, our Design Space made giant sign. Let's get it all the way across. You can see just how big it is. There's my hand, so it is very, very large. If you would like to know how to design your own giant signs for any occasion, check out Lovely Layering, my step-by-step design course, by clicking the link in the description of this video. With Lovely Layering, you'll easily learn everything you need to know about creating gorgeous layered designs right within Design Space. Watch easy-to-follow Design Space-based training videos to transform your Cricut crafting. It's time to easily learn how to make your own layered projects that look exactly how you want them to. With Lovely Layering, here are just some of the amazing designs you'll be able to make. It includes projects such as shadow boxes, mandala letters, cake toppers, layered greetings cards, paper wreaths, floral bouquets, turning your own photos into layered projects, and, of course, giant signs. Visit craftwithsarah.com/layering to find out more. Use discount code YouTube at checkout to save $20 off the purchase price. After following the Lovely Layering training lessons, you'll never look at your Cricut the same way again with all the new possibilities that you will have unlocked. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make this giant off-the-mat snowman sign. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and festive fun. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!